Are you ready?
Good news, everyone!
I'm the surprise in your cereal box. I'm
great! Everybody else sucks!
I said, are you ready?
Yes, sir, random kid I just met.
It's Ciely.
Hooray! People are paying attention to me.
That's right! You're always blaming me!
So, my reputation exceeds me.
It's time to check the link.
Oh, wait, you serious? Let me laugh even harder.
You know what? You just made the list.
It's all in football.
Sure, we talk about it all the time.
Really?
No, burn.
What is up, you ducks? It is All in Football on FTN Network. And the only people that get to answer questions today are Mr. Nice Guy and Jiggles, because they said happy birthday. That's it. Nobody else. You're done. And they can't say it now. Thank you. But can't even say anything. You had your birthday last week. I had my birthday this week. Everybody else is too late to the party. So if you have a question, Jiggles or Mr. Nice Guy, you get it answered. It's Stepmom Lauren over at FTN. Code all in, get you 20% off. Check The Athletic for the new discount if you missed on the $1 a month for 12 months. I don't know what you waited for because that was super cheap and barely an inconvenience. And we're talking waivers. You ready to talk some? I actually put flow charts in the waiver article this week because of how complicated this is. Well, I mean, it's like if this. As like I was writing it up and I'm like, this is just too much. Like you have to come back to the first sentence of the. So yes.
Sorry for the lawnmower. My cat.
Oh, is that what that was?
Yeah. Without fail, every time I sit down for this podcast, he literally is like, okay, love time. And he hops on my lap. And I don't know if anyone has cats. I know you hate them, Jake. But if you ignore them, then it's immediate. I want more attention. But if you actually pay attention to them, then they're like, okay, I'm over it.
And they try to kill you in your sleep.
No, they don't. Oh my God.
They throw stuff off your shelves. No, Jiggles, I actually bought a few new t-shirts. I don't know, you can kind of tell this one. This is the Marvel Clubhouse, and Batman isn't allowed in. That's why
I like it.
He's hanging his head. He's upset because they're all hanging out there, and he's not Marvel, so he's sad. So there you go. So, flow charts. We'll get to those in a second. We do have a couple news items from Week 12 that are related to waivers and kind of talk about everything, so we'll talk about those too. So, first, let's get to Sam Darnold, who we didn't talk about. And that the fact that he's quarterback for Carolina Panthers, and that it's better than anything we saw before because that's how bad Baker Mayfield was. Although P.J. Walker was pretty decent. The good news here is that just like P.J. Walker, Sam Darnold loves some DJ Moore. However, didn't even throw the ball 20 times. So before we get to waivers, I'd like to talk a few of these things through. Is DJ Moore right back to must start for you? Because DJ Moore with PJ Walker was basically a must. You absorbed the blows of what was like a wide receiver 4 performance, but it was that ceiling. It was the DJ Moore we knew from past years.
Yeah, he is, but he's not like I know we touched on this a little bit yesterday, but he's not like I feel good about starting him. It's one of those like he's always going to be one of those risky fade players for me in this offense. And by fade I don't mean must sit. By fade I mean don't expect everything from him. So structure your lineup with some other high upside, safe floor options, and just know that his ceiling is there. He can do it. It's just a matter of Sam Darnold, who I don't trust. So is he a must start? Yeah, I think he is, but not with like exuberance. I'm not happy about it. I take some Pepto when I have to do it.
So then my question to you is the person that's must start now back to being Deonta Foreman? Is he back to must start because of how much? Do you know how many times they ran the ball? Almost 50 times. Because they're like, hey, we're not going to trust Sam Darnold to throw it 30. So was Deonta Foreman back to like being that trustworthy where he's just essentially just put him in your lineup and forget it?
Yeah, it's almost the same answer.
I got a different question. Would you rather, if you had to, as of today, Alvin Kamara with Andy Dalton or Deonta Foreman going forward?
Oh my God, that's a really hard question, and I think I would have to go Deonta Foreman because of the volume, and it just looks like Alvin Kamara is like, I hate this season. I hate this season. I hate playing football. Get me into 2020.
No, he's getting closer and closer to getting suspended and potentially it's like that's what it is. It's the ticking clock
that's
of
true.
like
I had
seeing
forgotten
that.
about that. Yeah. Ooh, yeah.
By the way,
think I might
keeper
have
leagues,
to
don't forget about
for
that.
You need safe floor options. You need high upside guys. And unfortunately, Alvin Kamara is neither right now. He doesn't have it. And it's just weird. It feels blasphemous to bench someone with that name, right? Bench someone like Alvin Kamara, because the first time you do, he's going to blow up on your bench. But
How many ducks would you give him?
oh, like 4.
That's how many
scary.
again. There's on the
Yeah.
nose. We need Jameis Winston back at quarterback. They 100% need
They
Jameis
do.
Winston at quarterback. I don't know if they're going to do it. It's kind of weird, especially because they're still technically in the playoffs. I mean, I put it in quotes because to call them in the playoffs it's just because the division you're in, honestly.
He's wrong. Yeah.
All right, so the flow chart. So let's talk about this because we didn't talk too much about the Jets, but let's talk about the flow chart of the Jets backfield because this is where it gets messy. Mike White came in. It was great for the Jets. It was great for Garrett Wilson. Garrett Wilson's back to being top 20 must start with wide receiver 1 upside. We talk about Elijah Moore. Actually, before we talk about the running back, since we are talking about the passing game, let's talk Elijah Moore real quick. Picking him up, for me, I'm picking him up and stashing him. I'm not starting him right away because he was still 5th in team targets. He was still behind Corey Davis. He was still behind Tyler Conklin. He was still behind the backfield.
He only got 2 targets. It was
it's just
a couple of them.
It was a big day. Okay, so are you even picking him up?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I am.
Okay.
I am picking him up. Absolutely. They play the Lions here soon. So I like that matchup as well. I don't think he's a must start, but at the same time, I do think he's a must add. And I think he's a pretty powerful weapon moving forward. And we know the history that Mike White and Elijah Moore have. So I think it's just, let's see one more week, matchup dependent. Yeah. Touchdown dependent. Yeah. Because I think the majority of those targets are going to go to Garrett Wilson, as they should. But he'll see his share, and he's going to be a boomer bust guy. So I would put him in against the Lions.
Would you pick up Elijah Moore or any of the Chiefs? Mecole Hardman, Kadarius Toney, Marquez Valdes-Scantling.
I would go Elijah Moore because they're almost this. It's almost
over all
the same.
of them.
It's the same idea. Yeah.
Hardman can return for your playoffs, by the way. That's why. So I put them in there. I put them as a team because Toney could come back, but he might not. But if Toney comes back and then it's a 2-week play because they say if Hardman's out there, I'd still go Hardman, then Toney, then MVS. But it's still all right. So would you go? Here's an interesting. Do you stash Elijah Moore, or do you stash Jamison Williams?
You know what? I think in this case, and I'm going to do something really annoying. I'm sorry. If you're not in a keeper league, I'm going to go Elijah Moore. I'm going to go Elijah
there's a lot
Moore.
of people that aren't.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm going to go Elijah Moore because I like the known commodity, right? I like to know what I'm getting. Jamison Williams is a rookie. He has not played in the NFL yet. He hasn't played in the Lions offense yet on
And
the
now
NFL
a long shot.
field.
It was so weird. It was like they activated me has a chance for week 12. And now we get the report he's a long shot for week 13.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. I was all about that life a couple weeks ago, but as we have gotten, the weeks have gone by, I am fading that idea unless you have a really big bench and you can afford to do so. I think I would go Elijah Moore because he is a flex option that has some upside to him. So I'm going to go Elijah Moore.
Okay. Then Elijah Moore or Michael Gallup.
Elijah Moore.
Okay. Michael Gallup had his best game quite a bit.
Oh, sorry.
There, look, cat appearance. See, they're messing things up.
Oh, God, here we go.
Here's what I will say. As she walks across everything.
Yep. Oh, there goes my water, and we're done. Hi.
See? I told you, they're assholes.
Well, at least my cat did it. I didn't do it to myself.
No, but your cat doesn't give a damn about you and your life. Assholes.
Fun. Sorry. I'm back.
You know what Barkley does? She comes over here when I ask her to come over here, and then she goes away, and she doesn't jump on the thing.
Yeah, because she's a dog. Okay, I get it.
She's not an asshole.
That was a full glass of ice water that just went all over my desk, all over my bag, all over my floor.
You know what it was? Your cat saw the show yesterday and just wanted to get you involved with pouring water all over your stuff.
I think so. This is unfortunate. Keep talking. I'm right here.
Are you going to be able to multitask? Would you say would you still go the chair of Lauren? Would you still go Michael Gallup, or would you change it to Michael Gallup over Elijah Moore if Odell Beckham doesn't sign with the Cowboys? Is this Michael Gallup thing regardless of the Odell Beckham situation?
It is.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, I could give you.
Do you care about Odell Beckham signing with the Cowboys?
Not really. No.
I said, he's got to be able to stay on a plane.
I can hear Barkley drinking water, and it just keeps I have water all over my desk and my floor right now. Ice and water. A full 30-ounce cup. It's gonna be fun.
Oh yeah, that's a good question. Jiggles, is that what's the name of your cat?
What?
Asshole McGee?
No, his name is O'Reilly. He is named after my favorite hockey player.
O'Reilly the asshole.
He knocks things over. Okay, that's what hockey players do. They score goals and knock things over and get named the MVP. So I named he's a feral stray who doesn't act like it. He's 17 pounds. He's a big, huge cat. So he does occasionally accidentally knock things over. That was not
so
like
a fat hole.
I am
that's
just
what you're telling me.
No, he didn't on purpose look at my cup and say, Pew. He was literally trying to exit.
I don't believe you. I see the results here.
Left.
Well, kind of something. All right, so you ready to try to verbally explain the flow chart? If anybody didn't go to the site, you ready for this?
I'm ready.
Let's break down the Jets first. So here's the Jets.
Does it have to do with ice water?
No, thankfully. Okay. If Michael Carter is active, let's go that way first. Mm-hmm. Let's say Michael Carter is active. And James Robinson is active. Okay? Yeah, so you made a face. I'd say Michael Carter's an RB2, James Robinson is like an RB2 or 3, and we don't really care much about Zonovan Knight or Ty Johnson. If Michael Carter is active and James Robinson is not active, then Michael Carter, still an RB2, but now Zonovan Knight falls into that RB2 or 3 conversation. We still don't care about Ty Johnson. If Carter and Robinson are both out, this is where it gets really interesting, and this is where you can go for Zonovan Knight, because Zonovan Knight would be an RB2, in my opinion. Ty Johnson, a desperation RB3. The biggest takeaway here is what I'm saying is Zonovan Knight is the lead if they're both out. Ty Johnson's role does not change. Maybe a slight uptick if Carter and Robinson are both out.
Right, and Ty Johnson will be involved in the passing game minimally. But yeah, I do agree with you there. Obviously, Michael Carter, I don't know what's going on with James Robinson at all. I still haven't figured it out. Nothing.
I mentioned this to Pat, and I haven't fact-checked because I got the information from somebody in the comments like minutes before I did my show with Pat, and I still haven't been able to because this show follows it immediately. I'll do it after this. So I will fact-check after this. Maybe I'll tweet it out and give the guy credit. Or lady. I forget. I don't even see the name of who said it. But anyway, the point was, is they said that apparently there's a clause in the James Robinson trade that if he rushes for more than 250 yards, it converts from a 6th to a 5th rounder. And that's what they're doing. They're trying to prevent the pick from moving up around.
Oh, that actually would make sense. That is interesting.
So, anyway, there's one flow chart. You ready for the second flow chart? Because we need to.
I actually followed that one quite well. That was good. Yeah, that was good.
But see, to try to do that in an article form, as much because you got to put like pauses in there so you can like
break it down into bullet points. No, that's not. I am covered. I'm so wet.
Apparently,
this is awful.
Travis Etienne could have played, but they didn't want to risk it.
Right.
So the easy version, Travis Etienne's active. And Darrell Henderson, who, by the way, is now on this team. If anybody missed that news, that happened. Darrell Henderson, if they're both active, it's Etienne's an RB1, Henderson's an RB3, and then just move on. So let's talk about the concerning side. Let's say Etienne doesn't play, and Darrell Henderson doesn't play. Then it's kind of like Hasty as an RB2-3, and I'm still not excited because the power between the tackles, like that was probably the best you're going to get at Hasty. The interesting play here on that side of it is if there's no Etienne, there is Darrell Henderson. Are you ready to believe that Darrell Henderson would immediately step in as an RB2?
Yeah, see, that's a really good question because I actually do like Jermichael Hasty over Darrell Henderson.
Really? Okay,
I know.
explain.
Yes, I do. So this is more about the eyeball test for what Jermichael Hasty was able to do in Travis Etienne's absence. And the fact that they did not put Travis Etienne back in said that in a close game, said the Jaguars were like, hey, we're comfortable with what we have. We like what Jermichael Hasty is doing. We don't have to force Travis Etienne back in. So let's run it and see what happens. Don't forget, he was very fantasy annoying when he was with the 49ers, and he got some things done. So in a role where it's just him, or maybe it's him and Darrell Henderson is good for a few things. It's falling over into the end zone, and it's maybe falling over for a first down. But I think what we saw out of JaMycal Hasty was enough pass catching opportunity, enough explosiveness, not a ton, but enough that made it worth it. I saw something a little bit more gusto in JaMycal Hasty than I do in Darrell Henderson. I don't know. It's kind of like line dancing compared to like the salsa.
Well, so here's my problem is that JaMycal Hasty will die if they give him 20 touches again. He's 5'8", maybe 200, with pads soaking wet, a cat threw stuff on him type of stuff, because JaMycal Hasty...
I see
Look, if there is no Darrell Henderson and Travis Etienne, I like Hasty more than Snoop Connor. But Snoop Connor's built like James Robinson, and I do think he's going to take enough away from him where Darrell Henderson's built like Snoop Connor and James Robinson, but actually able to do everything as we've seen. So unless there's an injury that we don't know about the Rams situation with Darrell Henderson or something, if Darrell Henderson's fine, I'm still taking Darrell Henderson over JaMycal Hasty. But I think it'll be enough of a split. It's kind of like not in the same roles, but maybe kind of like a Zeke and Pollard, where Hasty's Pollard. But I just don't see if Henderson is active. This is only, again, if there's no ATN. So this might all become irrelevant. So if you're listening to this on Friday, and you like skip past it, well, thanks a lot, guys. We don't care about this. Is that Hasty's best in that 10 to maybe 14 touch range, which, again, I would still rank higher, but I think that Henderson could do more and actually get close to 20 touches, which might push Hasty down to like 7 or 10. That's my concern.
I just think Hasty can do more with the fewer touches.
Than Darrell Henderson?
Than Darrell Henderson, yes.
So let me put it this way. How about this? Let's give it, for example, to make this clear for everybody. They both play, no ETN. Henderson gets 15 touches, Hasty gets 8. Who has the higher box score?
In receiving yards, it's going to be JaMycal Hasty. So if you're in
no. I want fantasy points. Fantasy points.
All right.
Half point PPR. Who scores more fantasy points? JaMycal Hasty or Darrell Henderson?
And half point.
Because I'll take Henderson.
I think because you're talking about volume, and I think the opportunity for a touchdown might be closer for Darrell Henderson.
But it's close. Is like what you're saying here. But I think I think. Normally, right? If we're just, I don't know, because I see the explosiveness. I see upside in JaMycal Hasty as opposed to what I do with Darrell Henderson. Okay.
I hope we don't have to make this decision because both of them are fantasy annoying.
Oh, that's so nice.
Hopefully they're both irrelevant.
So nice.
Oh my God.
Not knocking everything over. There you go. Here's your cookie. There you go. Chew it.
Blah, blah, blah. I have 2 dogs. Okay, this is just the cat that likes to be on this show. He actually likes you, even though you don't like him.
Well, that's because all pets and kids somehow like me. I think it's because I don't care about them. That's just one of those. I think
that's true. I tell that to my nieces and nephews all the time, that I don't like them, and somehow they like me. I'm just kidding, you guys. I love you.
Let's talk Ravens. We don't need a flow chart for the Ravens, but J.K. Dobbins looks likely to return this week? ? Maybe. Gus Edwards, we know, is the better option than Kenyon Drake, and he's used. But if Dobbins comes back, let's say he's 100%, assuming. Because why did they bring him back after seeing what happened last time? And that's what I'm going off of here. It's like you try to think logically through these situations. I go back to the Khalil Herbert. Like they brought back David Montgomery. Khalil Herbert looked great. And I go, they're going to use David Montgomery because why do you bring him back unless he's ready? Why do you bring J.K. Dobbins back unless he's ready? So assuming he's 100%, do you think this is now a 50-50 split, or does Dobbins go back to like that 60-40 they kind of played around with before? And is Dobbins the better value because of the limited passing game, but is he the better value than Gus Edwards, or are you going to chase the touchdowns of Gus Edwards?
That's such a good... I think I'm going to go, if like as you said, if Dobbins is 100%, I think I'm going to lean on Dobbins over Gus Edwards. And I think it's going to be a little bit closer to the 60-40 as opposed to a 50-50. But don't forget, Lamar Jackson also uses his legs, and they have struggled in the red zone. They have really struggled in the red zone the last 2 weeks. So I think this is going to be a lot more reliance on the run game, including Lamar Jackson here. So I don't think that either of them are going to suck, but I think I'm going to give the nod slightly to J.K. Dobbins over Gus Edwards. Just like you said, out of the limited passing opportunity that he has, that might give him the edge. But I think it's going to be not 50-50. I still think they're going to lean a little bit more J.K. Dobbins. But yeah, it's going to be messy either way. It's going to be a committee.
It's gonna be a committee.
Not
All
a
right, so let's
timeshare,
take
'cause
some
there's 3 of them.
let's take some Jermichael Hasty versus, because a lot of people's waivers are probably going to run before we get the official Travis Etienne is 100% fine. So assuming you have this kind of situation, like, do I pick up Hasty or and kind of run through it with that? Same thing, Zonovan Knight. So you're taking Zonovan Knight over Hasty, right? Even
I
assuming,
am.
Because if he has it today.
Yes, because I doubt Travis Etienne is going to miss a week. I highly doubt it. So for me, Jermichael Hasty is now irrelevant because that's where my mindset is going. I could be wrong, but from what we know now.
For whatever we just laid out, that's where you see the Hasty value if there's no ATM.
Because there is some interesting situation going on there with Knight that I do like because of what we don't know that's going on with the Jets.
About James Robinson and Michael Carter. So let's play the Knight world. So Knight versus, do you pick up Knight or do you pick up Khalil Herbert, who's about to return? These are the decisions people have to make.
Yeah, I think they're both kind of in that same category. You know what? I think I'm going to go Khalil Herbert in that situation.
Okay. Would you go Zonovan Knight or Kyron Williams? Who got
Zonovan Knight.
Here's the interesting thing about Kyron Williams is that Cam Akers didn't look bad in that game, but Kyron Williams was pretty much just as good and got all the passing game work. That's the one thing.
That's true.
But it's also Bryce Perkins, a quarterback, and that offense is just, wow.
It's terrible.
I said this on Sunday. Is there a bigger, I don't even think you can call this a hangover because this isn't like everybody's there and they're just letting people down. Is there a more disappointing fall from grace of a Super Bowl team than the Rams? Because the injuries are the biggest factor, but I was trying to think back. I can't think of a team that went from Super Bowl to this in 1 year this bad. This is a top 5 pick in the NFL draft from being a Super Bowl winner. That's as big as you can get.
I don't know of one. It's instead of the hangover, they're straight up DTs. I mean, they need to go to the emergency room. It's bad.
What? Straight up what?
Detriment's trends. It's like when you are recovering from alcoholism and your body is basically shutting down and you need to go to the hospital to survive. That is
okay.
That's what they call the DTs.
I've never heard that before.
Really? Yeah, but you don't drink, do you? So not really.
No.
In your vocabulary, so yeah.
The what? Ooh, the fiance. I almost called her the wife. The fiance. The fiance I'd never heard "cut your nose off to spite your face."
What?
Yeah.
It's one of my favorite phrases.
See? I was surprised she had never heard that before. So anyway, let's continue.
Just like the Willy Wonka thing that you brought up the other day with baseball.
Willy Wonka? Wally pipped.
Whatever.
Tyler Algier or Zonovan Knight?
I'm going to go Tyler Algier, and I'm not going to like it.
Okay. Then let's talk about 2 interesting ones, if you're even interested at all. If everybody remembers, Broncos wanted to use Mike Boone. They were like, hey, we have 2 options, and we're still going to use Mike Boone. Mike Boone comes back. Mike Boone doesn't have a lot of opportunity, or not a lot of opportunity, basically not a lot of opportunity to fight against him behind Latavius Murray because the other option, granted he's a Hall of Famer, Marlon Mack, but that's the only option behind Latavius Murray. Are you picking up Mike Boone? Because I think he could be a sneaky, look, you're in a deep league, a lot of these might be, you don't have much fab left, or you're still playing in the antiquated waiver priority, and you're not going to get Zonovan Knight, you're not going to get Dobbins or one of the other ones. I think if you're thinking in that realm, that could be the sneaky one of all right, I'll put in the bid and I'll get Mike Boone as in the one that just slips through.
I love Mike Boone, so I am all about that life. I have 0 problems with that whatsoever because Mike Boone can get it done. Even as the RB2, RB3 that he's been before, he's still been able to have explosive plays, and he is good for a touchdown. Kind of like the same way I see Latavius Murray, but I see Mike Boone even more explosive than Latavius Murray, and now they're on the same team. So I don't mind that.
All right, so before we get to wide receivers, I did see a comment. I'm going to have to come back to you real quick. Rest of these running backs, any interest in them? Oh, actually, before we get to them, are you picking up Zamir White everywhere? Because here's the thing that's annoying about Josh Jacobs.
I was actually going to bring him up if you didn't. Yeah.
Because I sat here and gave people on Sunday, the pastor said, look, if you have 0 backup plans, because there are some people who are like that, depending on what your roster is and when teams play, and we had 3 Thanksgiving games. We were like, I have no backup plan for Josh Jacobs. Do I play Antonio Gibson to play it safe? I was like, you kind of have to. The frustrating thing is that questionable didn't look limited at all. That calf looked fine. But apparently he aggravated the calf in that game, running for 8 billion yards. So it sounds more serious this week because it's been aggravated. Are you taking Zamir White off your waivers, and are you taking him over anybody we've talked about? Zonovan Knight, Gus Edwards, J.K. Dobbins. Like, how far up the list for you does Zamir White go?
He is up there, but not at the very top of the list. So I think I would still rather have Gus Edwards. I think I'd rather have Mike Boone, but that's Zamir White. I might swoop him off of free agency if he happens to fall through the cracks.
Okay. So, and no, Brett, Thunderstruck, I have not forgot about Melvin Gordon. That was the next part I was about to get into. Melvin Gordon is now with the Chiefs. Same division. Tyrion Davis-Price, your boy Jordan Mason, Cam Akers, Eno Benjamin, now replacing the pass catcher of Rex Burkhead, who has a concussion, although there's still Dare and Ngumbawale. So, any of these intrigue you at all? Like, are you even wasting your time chasing? Is the obvious answer Davis-Price in case Christian McCaffrey doesn't play? Like,
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it really is. I mean, I would love to say that Melvin Gordon is just going to crush it with the Chiefs.
I think he's just going to be more of a thorn than a good thing.
Yes. This kind of stinks for Pacheco, but yeah, no, I don't. None of them just scream value. Take him now. It's more like, ugh, what a headache.
Do you think he was fumbling just to get the hell out of there?
Maybe.
Maybe. Jiggles just said the same thing. Yeah, so there you go. Just get the helmet. Get me off this team. Thank DJ Osborne and Brett for the happy birthday wishes as well. Yours counts. This is the one I was going to say. I know Mr. Nice Guy wasn't watching it because that was recorded, and that's not out yet with Pat Mayo. And yet he said, how many ducks for Deontay Johnson? And I said this to Pat on his show. Deontay Johnson's Jacoby Myers, old Jacoby Myers, who doesn't score touchdowns. So, Jacoby Myers, I didn't give him any ducks. I'd give him like 3 and an egg because he's Jacoby Myers. We still played Jacoby Myers in half a full point PPR. He was just a wide receiver 3 versus what we thought Deontay Johnson, including myself, could be his top 15 wide receiver this year.
Correct.
So,
me too.
Kind of like a 3.5. Like, it's not what he was, but like I'm accepting this is who he is at this point.
Yeah, I'm right at a 3 for him. Completely agree. This is a new dynamic. It's a new offense that we haven't seen before. So what we expected from him coming in, even though it was a new offense, it was either Trubisky or Kenny Pickett. We relied on that volume, but that's not there. And then if it is,
well, the volume is, the receptions aren't there.
And also catchable passes too would help.
Well, thank
there's
you.
that.
Everybody thinks Kenny Pickett's amazing, and I tried to tell him. Nobody wants to listen to me.
He's not horrible. He's just a young quarterback trying to grow in the league. I 100% get it.
Nobody want to listen to me about Zach Wilson.
It's not the
Daniel Jones.
It's not the kind of production that we want.
Nobody will want to listen to me when I said Tua was in tier 1 with Joe Burrow as a franchise quarterback. Nobody listens to me ever. I don't even know why I do the show. I just
am I chopped liver?
I just put up signs with the questions like they do on that, like out, like, hold it up there and flip the card as I just sit there and do that now. Actually, one more worry. Somebody got an infinity duck this week.
Ooh.
He's a wide receiver. Can you guess?
No, who is it?
I'm gonna keep giving more hints. He's a wide receiver. He's a dual threat wide receiver.
Deebo Samuel.
No, not Deebo Samuel. He's played for a team. Both of his teams. Don't start looking. Don't cheat.
Why?
Like, this is why I can't even play games with Lauren.
Why? I like cheating because I like winning.
The two teams they're within hours of each other on the East Coast, Virginia and North Carolina, that the two teams he's played for.
This is great. Hand. Just come on. Spit it out.
He's got God's gift from ODU, Taylor Heineke, as his quarterback.
Oh, okay. Are you talking Curtis Samuel?
Yes.
Okay.
Infinity Duck Curtis Samuel, who is
which is really sad. What's really sad to me about this is that we have been waiting for Curtis Samuel to become Curtis Samuel, right? Then it's been injuries, and then it's been offensive schemes.
And that happened at the beginning of this year.
I know, but then we finally saw it. It's like, oh my God, Curtis Samuel is back. Has he ever been back? Curtis Samuel's here. And then now it's like, oh. Well, it was fun while it lasted. Like, that stinks. Poor Curtis.
So the question here is, you can drop Curtis Samuel, correct? Because I said to.
I think you can, yes.
Okay. So now let's do 2 parts into the waivers for the wide receivers. These players, we'll talk about their interest, but the other part is, would you drop Curtis Samuel for this player? And I think we're going to get a lot of yeses. The first 3 names on my waivers don't even have words. They just have the huffy face emoji of I tried to tell you, because if you didn't pick them up at this point, I don't know what to say. One of them has been there almost the entire year. We're going to get to him in a little bit. But the first 3, Treylon Burks, Darius Slayton, Paris Campbell. Drop. Curtis Samuel, right? Yeah, all 3 of them, not even a question.
100%.
Even Paris Campbell coming off that disappointing game? No question?
Yeah, whatever. Yes.
It was actually his first bad game since his breakout in week 6 with Matt Ryan. We're not counting the Ellinger games. All right, so go back to the Chiefs. Would you drop him for all of the Chiefs?
Yes.
Okay. Would you drop Curtis Samuel for the stashes of Jameson Williams and Elijah Moore?
Yes. Oh, yes, I would.
Curtis Samuel, drop and pick up Michael Gallup.
Yes. Yes,
Okay.
yes, I would.
Let's keep going. Drop Curtis Samuel and pick up Mac Hollins.
Yes, I love Mac Hollins, so yes.
Are you starting Mac Hollins going forward?
Injury dependent. I am going to have to wait and see.
Is it
if
matchup
anyone
dependent, or
returns.
do you not care about the matchup?
I don't really care about the matchup as much as I care about Darren Waller and Hunter Renfrow. So whatever is going to happen with them is going
Waller
to be
could be coming back.
Correct. I think that actually does help Mac Hollins more than it hurts, but Hunter Renfrow coming back is the one that kind of worries me. But Mac Hollins has been very surprising. He's also been disappointing. I get that as well. But he's been able to make big plays, and he's been able to make really nice catches, contested catches, and reliable. Derek Carr likes him. So I hope that continues, and he keeps looking his way. But what I'm afraid of is as soon as Darren Waller and Hunter Renfrow come back, it's going to be like, oh, yeah, I forgot about you. Like, all my friends returned from vacation, so I can hang out with them now. Sorry. Like, I hope it doesn't happen like that. But I do like Mac
I don't know. I thought, is Renfrow not done for the year?
I don't know for sure, because I've kind of ignored him since he's been on IR. I don't know for sure.
I'll double check.
But if he's out for the year, then yeah, give me Mac Hollins. I'll start him all day long.
I mean, I know he's on IR. They both missed at least 4 games. I know that, but I thought Renfro's was bad enough that they expected him to miss this. Oh, it's an oblique. That's why. It might be the rest of the season. I'm not counting on Renfro coming back at this point, especially because this team is out of it. All right, so how about another Allins, Nico Collins, or Curtis Samuel?
That's gross. Neither.
No, it's Nico
I want nothing to do with either of them. I'm not even answering that question.
All right. So this next wide receiver, the one I was hinting for, who's been in the waiver column, I'm not kidding, probably the entire year. I'm not sure if he made it week 1 or week 2, but for all intents and purposes, he's been there the entire season. And there's nothing left I had to say about him weeks ago. And yet, all of a sudden, everybody wants some Zay Jones. Zay Jones or Curtis Samuel.
Zay Jones all day long. That's not even, no. I also write a waiver column. I also have another waiver show that I do, and I've been talking about Zay Jones.
Wait, you have other friends?
Come on. What? I do. I'm sorry.
You cheating on me with other shows?
Just a few.
Continue. Sorry to cut you off.
Oh, no, you did it all. I was done. I mean, Zay Jones has...
that was the end
I
of your
call him a
statement.
target monster. I know that there have been a couple of games where it's been less than, enthralling. But we're still talking about Trevor Lawrence, who is still growing. I mean, I just want to completely wash my hands of Trevor Lawrence's rookie year because of Urban Meyer. So with Doug Peterson in there, things are starting to click with that team. And the main cog in that wheel that gets it done right now is Travis Etienne and Zay Jones. So I'm all about that Zay Jones life. I'm all about it.
So I see a lot of people talking about Jacksonville's remaining schedule, and I think they're overstating their remaining schedule because I keep telling people to be concerned about their remaining schedule because, sure, everybody sees Houston in Week 17, but here's the problem. Yes, they have Detroit this week. Yay! Not playoffs. Okay, cool. Yeah, Detroit, go all over them. Tennessee, been playing a lot better defense in the second half of the season than people want to give credit for. Run defense worrisome, more so than the passing game, but still better. But here's the issue. Weeks 15 and 16, they get the Cowboys and the Jets for their passing game.
Yeah, that's rough.
And everybody's like, oh, go attack Trevor Lawrence and all. And you know, I love Trevor Lawrence and all about. And I'm like, hold up, so it's not just like I'm not crazy, right? Week 15 and 16 are concerning.
Yeah, that is very concerning. Unless something changes from here to then, yeah, that is not fun. Those are hard matchups. Those are really tough matchups.
Okay, and in that scenario, good question here: is Zay Jones playing good enough to push the conversation of saying Zay Jones versus Christian Kirk in your lineup, or is it still Christian Kirk, no questions asked?
Okay, that's a really, really good question. And I think
that's not even my question. That's Mr. Nice.
Yeah, and I think excellent question. I think what that's going to depend on for me, you're not going to have two wide receivers. Well, you shouldn't have two wide receivers from the same
wide receivers
team.
from the Jaguars.
On the Jags, on your team, right? So Christian Kirk is going to be rostered somewhere, but let's just look at this in a situation of Christian Kirk or Zay Jones, right? I am going to lean on Christian Kirk in rough matchups because I think that he might have the upside over Zay Jones. But I do like Zay Jones moving forward. I was not going to trust him in week 15 and 16. So when it comes to those 2 weeks, I think I'm going to lean on Christian Kirk for that touchdown upside that he's shown to have. But that's a really good question because they've kind of waffled back and forth. That's tough. That is a really, really tough question. But hopefully you won't have to make that decision because you don't have both of them on your team.
Hopefully I didn't go crazy for two Jaguars. Like, yeah. I have no problem playing teammates. I'll even push it to 3, maybe even 4, because if your 4 is on the right team, it doesn't really matter. Like, I mean, hell, like, who the hell cares? If your 4 is Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelce, and right now Pacheco and Juju Smith-Schuster, you're starting all of them. And could it go sideways? But it's very unlikely it goes sideways on you. 4 is about where I'll cap it. I'll be like, don't give me a 5th. Like, don't ask me to put like
3 is where I cap
Kadarius Toney. Yeah.
No, 3 is no more than 3 for me, and that's only.
And I don't even have a problem with their wide receivers because Mike Evans and Chris Godwin throughout the years. Although, you know what, somebody asked me about that, and actually it was Pat. He asked me if I'm concerned about Mike Evans. I said no. Like, we've done this before with Mike Evans. Mike Evans goes through Cole's. You are concerned, or we've gone through this before?
We've gone through this before.
Okay. So you have zero concerns with Mike Evans too?
No, I don't, because what is Mike Evans good for? All right, he's good for 3 targets, 2 receptions, and 2 touchdowns. That is Mike Evans. That is what he's been. I mean, that if he has a ton of targets and a ton of receptions, that's an odd game for him. It's a good one, but it's still a weird one because Mike Evans is so good for literally 3 targets, 2 receptions, 2 touchdowns.
Okay. I see the comments, and I'm going to sidebar for that real quick because I see the comments. Burpee had a trade that got vetoed. It was Olave and Pacheco for Debo. I don't even care if it was. Look. Here's. Call me crazy. Here's where I'm going to go with this. This is where I get the pushback, Lauren, because obviously that's not vetoable. I don't think vetoes should exist, period, outside of collusion, which is basically almost impossible to prove. So, for all intents and purposes, they shouldn't exist because here's what I'm going to say. I don't care if that trade, hear me out, I don't care if that trade was Olave and Saquon Barkley for Debo. I don't care. I know it looks gross on paper. I know people are going to lose their damn minds, but I don't care because you know what? It's that team's preference. It's that person's, and we've seen things go crazy before and people be right even though it's lopsided to one side. What if it's like, I don't like Saquon Barkley with how this offensive line's falling apart and their schedule and rating, and Daniel Jones looks trash. And Olave, what if this person comes back and all of a sudden, and Debo's going to get run because Christian McCaffrey's banged up and all of a sudden Debo turns into last year. Like, there's scenarios there. Yes, everybody's going to sit there and say it's an unfair trade. I don't care. And even if it is, I don't care. People are free to do what they want, make their own damn decisions, and it's not you to police them unless it's collusion, which, again, is very hard to prove.
You know how I feel about the trade situation, all right? I hate answering questions. It's like, who won the trade? No one wins a trade, okay?
The kids,
should be a
the
win
children win.
on both sides, okay? So do you need this trade? Do you need this person and do you need this people or whatever? And let's trade them out. Did you sabotage your own team? Congratulations. Now I have possibly a win against you later on in the season. Just exactly like you said. It is not a win or loss. You're not trades are not meant to be like, haha, look what I just did to you. You're dumb. Like, that's stupid. Then don't play the game. Don't do it.
That's what I do.
Like, it just makes me so angry when people are like, oh, well, like, who should I trade for this guy? Like, I don't know. What does your team need? What does your roster look like? What does your league look? It's so irritating, and it drives me nuts. Those two things. I have a guy. Who do I trade for? Like, throw it out there in your league conversation. I don't know.
Well,
like,
look at it this way.
So wide open.
Let's talk Chris Olave. Let's just take Chris Olave for a second. Beginning of the year, even with the hype around Chris Olave, beginning of the year, second week, traded Chris Olave for Deontay Johnson. Oh, vetoable. You're an idiot. Chris Olave for Allen Robinson. Vetoable. You're an idiot. Like, we could go down this list. We could talk about running backs. I traded DeAndre Swift straight up for Jamal Williams, week 2. You're an idiot. Like, nobody knows. So that's the other part of it, too. Like, things can change, and some of those are injury-related. Some of those are performance-related. And this is – so I don't care what the hell you do. You can trade whoever the hell you want. You can trade your entire team for a kicker. You're an idiot, but do whatever you want. It's your team. It's your life. Have fun. Play with it. Get rid of videos.
It drives me
videos. Get rid of the videos. Do it. So anyway, I will say the only thing that I see sometimes getting iffy out there is if you don't have keepers and it's like a last place team versus a top 2 or 3 team. That's when it starts to look a little bit like collusion, just because it's like, what is the last place team trading for? Like, even if you say, oh, play spoiler. Look, see, Barkley's upset about it, too. Look at that.
You and me, girl.
Mm-hmm. Barkley. She's really upset.
I know.
I gotta find out what she's upset. Upset about. I'm gonna find. You talk. Hold on. Van Jefferson, do you care being the last remaining option? She is so upset. Hold on. I gotta find.
She is really upset. Go check on her.
Are you picking up Van Jefferson? That's the question.
No, I'm not picking up Van Jefferson. And we had mentioned this a little bit earlier. Oh, poor Barkley. I hope she's okay. And I hope Jake's okay, because she sounds like she's real mad at something. So I'm not trusting anyone from the Rams because of Bryce Perkins. And also Aaron Donald is out, likely not coming back. I don't think that they're going to be bringing Matthew Stafford back. And why would they? This team is done. So don't risk further injury to any of these players. So I want nothing to do with Van Jefferson. I want nothing to do with Allen Robinson if I can help it. It just stinks all around. The whole entire situation is absolute garbage, and I am staying as far away from the Rams as I possibly can.
Okay. Did you catch that last bark? You know what that was? There was like an argument. There was like an argument, and then she they had to get the last word.
I get the last word. Oh, Ellie does that all the time.
That was so like she came inside and she's like done, like she's fine, like whatever, and then looked at the back door. It's like that one last like you, like yeah, take it in your face.
Get it, Barkley. I love it.
All right, last few before we get out of here. Are you have any interest in picking up DeAndre Carter, who's hit or miss with Josh Palmer? Josh Palmer is the one that's way over 60%. DeAndre Carter's still under, just had another big game. But Keenan Allen is playing, and DeAndre Carter's very hit or miss with Keenan Allen in the lineup. So would you, I guess I'll go back to that. You poo-pooed Nico Collins. So would you go DeAndre Carter or Nico Collins as your waiver pickup?
I think I would go DeAndre Carter here just because I like the offense better. I don't know what is going on in Houston. I understand a little bit what's trying to go on with the Chargers, but I think that you would only pick up DeAndre Carter if you're in a deeper league and you're pretty desperate to at least have someone who's on the field for the opportunity for points. I'm not going to pick him up and think, oh, he's going to be a great start. You pick him up because you're like, God, I hope he does well, because I need help.
I mean, that's true. So last one, and then we have another situation to talk about. Devonta Parker, when healthy, he's got like 8+ points. And so I put this in the article for Devonta Parker. Actually, I want to get the number exactly correct. So Devonta Parker, when healthy, 5 scores of 8 or more points when he's at least 76% of the snaps. So basically, when he plays most of the game as the number 1, 8 or more points and a couple double-digit games in there. Do you just roll him while he's healthy? Do you play him? Do you put him out there? Do you say, hey, Devonta Parker, you're my wide receiver 4. I'm hurting over here?
That is such a good question, because
you stop telling me I have good questions. I know they are at this point.
He can do it, like, right? Like he can do it.
He's got the Bills this week. Do
you have to? Like, don't you have to? But not like it? Am I right?
Bills, but then after that, Cardinals, Raiders, Bengals, Dolphins. Devonta Parker, 1 to 5.
Well, Ravens are good.
How interesting.
It is interesting. I think it's sneaky because I think a lot of people are going to overlook him. I'd pick him up.
Okay.
I'd do
then,
it. Especially if you win with him and you're like, Devontae Parker, he's like 89 years old, still crushing it.
It's not Deshaun Jackson, 15th season.
I know.
I tweeted that out last night. Deshaun Jackson at halftime. At halftime, Deshaun Jackson had more yards in Week 12 than the Colts did at halftime last night. So there you go. 74 yards at 15 years into his career. Congratulations.
That game
Deshaun
was
Jackson.
trash last night. I didn't want to talk about it.
Oh, I thought you were talking about the Deshaun Jackson game. So
no.
What might be trash?
Steelers game.
What might be are the Packers going forward as we kind of get out of here on this one. So Aaron Rodgers busted up thumb, but now it's worse than that because he got side problems. And there's questions of if Aaron Rodgers even plays this week. Maybe not the rest of the season. Maybe not the rest of his career. He might be done. He flirted with that idea this offseason, but that's not the point we're talking about here. We're talking about we saw Jordan Love finally play some significant snaps. Christian Watson, still good with Jordan Love. Yep. Jordan Love apparently remembered that Alan Lazard was on the team, unlike Aaron Rodgers, who just had eyes for Watson and Cobb before that point. So if Jordan Love is at quarterback, the first one, are you downgrading or upgrading Christian Watson or neither?
I'm staying the same on Christian Watson because I see him as a very high upside player. And I'm upgrading Alan Lazard. You know what? Maybe I actually might upgrade Christian Watson a little bit, but not by much.
Really?
Yeah, I have no fear of Jordan Love taking over at quarterback there. It's he's been on that team for 3 years. He has been basically in tutelage and in practice constantly. I do like what he brings to the table. It's quickness, it's preparedness. He looks the part, he acted the part, and he produced like the part when he needed to. So I'm not downgrading either one of them. Let's just put it that way.
If you're in a super flex league,
pick him
or
up.
true quarterback. I mean, no. Well, I was gonna say, would you pick up Mike White or Jordan Love?
Oh, that's a good one. I would go. I might do I'm gonna do a little bit of a lean here too. I'll give it to Jordan Love, and I think just because, but you know what? No, because they got Garrett Wilson too. That's really tough.
No. Because here's what I was to say.
I was gonna say the upside of Christian Watson on deep plays.
No, I thought you were going where I was going on the the Athletic podcast yesterday, as they called me crazy for this, and I said I don't think there's a 0 chance that Zach Wilson comes back. I think there's still a door. There's still a door open.
I agree.
Second year, second pick, all mistakes. Look, Zach Wilson was a mistake. Lost the locker room. He can get it back. Players have done this before. Josh Rosen lost the locker room and the team, got a second chance. Granted, it was with another team, but I'm just saying, these things happen. So, 0 touchdown, 3 interception game or something that goes sideways for Mike White. And I think the door opens back up for Zach Wilson because of the capital, because of what they have behind him. I think if Aaron Rodgers is done, I think he's done for the year, and it's Jordan Love.
Yeah, I thought you meant just for this week, not for like season long. But yes, that would be my biggest argument against Mike White would be the possibility of Zach Wilson coming back. Even Robert Saleh has not committed to the fact that it's going to be Mike White for the rest of the season. He said we're taking it week to week. Now,
and Mike White has to get his confidence back.
Yeah, Zach Wilson has to get his confidence back.
I mean, Zach Wilson, yes. Yeah, correctly.
Yeah, because I think White has plenty of confidence. Last year it was Mike effing White.
Zach sitting on the bench and holding that clipboard, going to get super confident.
Yeah. He'll be like, yeah, good play. I wish I could do that.
Here's your headset, coach. Look at how confident that was. Yeah. All right. You know what's confident? Following Stepmom Lauren at Stepmom Lauren. That's why I said it that way. Also at FTN with code ALLIN, get you 20% off. And The Athletic, go check out the code. Whatever it is now. It's not $1 a month. You missed out, idiots. I'm just kidding. I love you guys. Thank you for the birthday wishes. We'll be back tomorrow. Hopefully Chris Meany won't be snotting all over the place. We'll see you later.
Oh, poor Chris.